questions? Yes.
Okay, so you just concluded that you say Hallel, Hoda'ah Hallel, when it affects the entire Jewish community. So Purim, the entire Jewish population was almost annihilated. That we don't say. But my real question was on the 48th war. Okay, it was. Should we say Hallel? Were we in jeopardy? I personally feel we should say Hallel because the Medinat Israel gives us all a refuge. Okay, and it accompanies the entire Jewish world. So personally, I think we should say Hallel, but it doesn't. It's not going from Abdut lecherut spiritually. It's more of a physical. It's more of a Purim.
Good question. The answer is that Israel, the problem of Israel is different. I mentioned before, why didn't they want to celebrate the army celebration at that time? Because they were afraid that they would say, this still stands. But in Israel it doesn't matter, because those who are religious believe that God was helping us. Those who are not religious, they don't say Hallel, they don't say anything. So we solve the problem. The other question is about the Jewish people, difference between Purim. You see, when you kill people because you want to annihilate them, that's another kind of finesse. But the moment, because they could still then left, few people would stay and they would rebuild the entire Jewish people. But when you kill everybody, that's the end of it. So it's not a war against Ruchani. It's not a war Ruchani. So therefore, there was no Hallel for that. So the answer is that we should say Hallel. I think we should say Hallel because there was a nest, because we had so many Arabs. The nest was in the establishment of the state, not that he saved us from the Arabs. The establishment says this in itself is a miracle.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, what date was the Al-Hanisim composed, approximately? Did it predate the Gemara? Or if you talk about the Hanukkah miracle about 150?
Yeah, I mean, this was established approximately at that time, probably the time of the Amoraim. It was established. So it was not far from that part. In other words, this was like.
If it was in the time, let's say Hanukkah happened, 165, let's say that's 3 hours.
Yeah.
Approximately, right?
Approximately at that time.
165.
So in other words, this was an Hashlama to the miracle that was not said in the Gemara. Because in the Gemara, they were very particular about that, not to mention the miracle of the army.
The Al-Hanisim was the Amorim, I didn't understand because
later. A different group of people, after the Amorim, there was Rabbanan Svora'eh, they called them. There was another group of people who learned and established, and some of them added to the Tfilah. So this was a part of that, the Hashlim of what they didn't do in the Gemara.
So we think it happened like approximately a few years after the composition of the Tfilah, a few years after.
Right, after the halacha that we have la diknerot Hanukkah.
How about right here?
Yes.
I think I'm following up on his question a little bit. This is a question that I heard. I never remember the answer. I heard the question, I don't remember the answer. But why does Purim have the Masachet in the Gemara?
It's a good question, but the answer is, in my opinion, very simple, because Megillat Esther is a part of Tanakh. Hanukkah is not a part of Tanakh. They did not put it in, so it's another category.
So I learned that there was one.
But
there is a Masachet, but it's not out of Canada.
I'm sorry, I don't.
You want to Teddy, 1 second. Just a reminder, we'd like to pray Mincha afterwards, and Birkat Hamazon with them also, please.
Yeah. Yes.
So there was a Masachet.
What?
There was a Masachet on Hanukkah.
No, there was no Masachet.
Everybody's out of it. It was never really.
No, it was not a Masachet. No, it was not a Masachet. It was not a Masachet. It was like followed the Sefer HaMaccabim. It was written, but it was not a Masechet. I think this is because it was in Tanakh. Megillat Esther is a part of Tanakh. Therefore, they dealt with that in the same token, like Chumash and Navi and Acharim. But Hanukkah was in a different category. But there was a machloket also. You see, there was a machloket in the Gemara. There was a very interesting machloket. כתוב לא תוסיפו ולא תגרעו בתורה. You can't add mitzvot. So there was a question, how do you add Purim and Chanukah? It's not written in the Torah. How can you add a Chag which was not written in the Torah? So in one Gemara, the question is only about Purim, not about Chanukah. In other words, Chanukah, it should be. We accept that. But why Purim? So you see, there was a machloket, which is more important, which is on a higher madriga. So they answered because Purim is in Chutz La'aretz, and because in Chutz La'aretz we don't celebrate. You want to, yeah.
Following on the point that was made before, Rabbi, is there, in addition to the points that you raised philosophically about Hanukkah, is there any political aspect to the Tanaim and their relationship with the Hashmonaim, leaving out the Hashmonaim?
Absolutely.
And then the later generations will not only see
the good question.
Elevate the Hashmonaim.
You see a fact that in the entire Mishnah, there is no mention about the Hashmonaim. And some of the historians said, because the Hashmonaim, the Kohanim took over Malchut. Hashmonaim took over the kingship. They took over the kingship, and this was against the Masoret of Yahadut, because we always had a Melech and we had a Kohen. And the Kohen should never become a Melech, and a Melech should never become a Kohen. So there was some sort of hostility to a point, and therefore some historians say that. We don't know, but this is some stuff. Therefore we don't have them in the Mishnah. Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you very much again.